if we can't have uncomfortable conversations in modern society, how does society, politics, anything that feels particularly taboo actually move forward?
Well, it doesn't. I mean, and don't get me wrong, I love the fact that guys are putting on dog masks and being led around on chains by lesbians. Like, you do you, brother. Like, whoever, I mean, you want to go out and have a big party for Mardi Gras? Fabulous, absolutely. I'm very libertine and I'm very libertarian culturally, and people should be allowed to do whatever they want to do. But just don't insist that I be part of your group. Don't insist that because I am married to a man, I must parrot what your team tells me to parrot. And certainly don't try to punish people or get them fired or excommunicated for screwing around with different ideas and like trying to spitball different ideas. I mean, those conversations that we have to have, like the 21st century is going to be full of big challenges like climate chaos and artificial intelligence, and social media is already doing our heads in. And the only way that really democracies work, and the only way that Enlightenment principles and, you know, traditional kind of tolerance for other people's ideas work, is if you have some sort of common ground that you can talk to each other on, where like there's a baseline sort of acceptance of like, I'm going to be roughly generous towards what you think, you're going to be roughly generous towards what I think. I'm not going to immediately prejudge you as being from another tribe. You know, we're going to agree that there's like a baseline agreement that we all sort of have standing to be part of the conversation. And so let's try to figure out where we agree rather than constantly jump down each other's throats about where we disagree. And something's happened like in the past 5 to 10 years where it's just, I mean, I think social media has a lot to do with it, where our worldviews have become extremely strident and blinkered, and half the population thinks that the other half of the population is absolutely nuts on a number of really important issues that we're going to have to come together on. And so I sort of see my job as, I definitely don't see my job as being a both sides are. Like, I don't like the idea that centrism is always the best solution. My point is not that if you have someone who believes that, you know, I don't know, climate change isn't real, and then you have someone who believes that climate chaos is going to be a problem, that what you should do is just like find the dividing point between the two of them and try to be a nice conciliatory centrist so that everybody should get along. There are things that are true and there are things that are not true. The planet is warming and we know that certain gases trap heat more than others, and we're putting those ones into the atmosphere, and that's going to have disruptive effects, and that's going to be really expensive and really annoying to have to deal with this century. So let's try to make it less expensive and less annoying to deal with, right? Like, I don't think that is just a fact. And so, but there are a lot of things that are not just facts. There are a lot of things that are opinions. And you know, we saw this, I'm not just going to pick on the LGBT issue here, but, you know, if you talk about the voice referendum, for example, I was on the air during that, and there was a lot of what sounded to a lot of Australians like quite finger-waggy, judgmental sort of, just get on the fucking train. Just get on this train. We're doing this thing. It's fucking obvious. This community's been shat on for hundreds of years. Like, stop asking questions about whether or not putting it in the Constitution is the right way to do it, or, you know, whether or not this or that, or how many people, how much it's going to cost, or how many people it's going to... Like, shut up and be on the right side of history. No one's going to come along if you just tell them to shut up, because you know what the right side of history is. You have to persuade them what the right... I voted yes, but you have to do the work to explain to people why. You know, and we're not very good. We're getting worse and worse at talking to each other in ways that are maximally generous to each other. And so I kind of just want... I feel like if my show can just help people to have 10% more empathy towards a position that they previously thought was beyond the pale, then I've kind of done my job.